Annex A 5.22, Monitoring, Review and Change Management of Supplier Services. This is the bit where we talk about how to keep tabs on your suppliers, review their performance, and if needed, make a smooth transition and to a new supplier. So let's start with the formal bit. What does the standard actually require? Well, it says that the organization, that's you, shall regularly monitor, review, evaluate, and manage change in supplier information security practices and service delivery. Sounds straightforward, but there are three moving parts here that I think we need to focus on. First of all, monitoring. That's ongoing oversight, and reviewing, that's periodic evaluation, and changing. When things go wrong, how do you move on to a different supplier? Let's take a look at two of these components that are really important to us. Monitoring versus reviewing. Let's say you've hired a gardener and you're monitoring them on a daily basis. The monitoring is literally glancing out the window to see if they're mowing the lawn or not. Reviewing, however, is sitting down with them once a month to say, I love what you're doing with the lawn, but the rose bush looks like it's lost its fight to live. So perhaps we could focus on the roses and less so on the lawn. In tech terms, monitoring might be automated alerts, log reports, or ticketing dashboards. Reviewing is more deliberate, like a quarterly meeting with your provider to compare against performance on previous months and against, of course, the service level agreement that you put in place. Both are crucial, and they're not just there for catching risks, they're for spotting opportunities for improvement, which again, we haven't spoken about continual improvement in a while, but remember, ISO 27001 is all about continual improvement. So why is this control important? Why does it matter? Well, this control helps you stay proactive, not reactive. Imagine your IT support provider quietly changes their security processes, or worse, starts to slip. If you're not monitoring and reviewing them regularly, you won't notice until something breaks, and by then, it's just too late. Remember, risk hides in plain sight when you stop paying attention. Let me say that again. Risks hide in plain sight when you stop paying attention. But there's another side to this. Sometimes reviews show that your supplier is doing great and that there's a better, cheaper way to work together. Maybe you're paying monthly per user for software, but an annual license would save you money. It's a win-win situation. Well, certainly for you anyway. What the auditor wants to see in this situation with this particular control is that the auditor isn't looking for a 100-page supplier review policy. They want to see evidence that you're monitoring supplier performance, that you're meeting and talking with suppliers on a periodic basis, and that you're reacting when things change. Now, all of this could include logs or of access or support tickets. It can be meeting minutes. It can be completed annual questionnaires, supplier change records, or just updated contracts. One of our clients had a CCTV supplier that wasn't meeting expectations. And during a review, they discovered the supplier had silently outsourced work overseas without telling them. Now, that's a big deal for data protection. They had changed their supplier, but because they had a process, the transition was safe and secure because we were quickly able to change that supplier to another CCTV monitoring supplier and provider. So what should you be doing? You don't have to monitor everyone the same way. Remember, 27001 is a risk-based management system. So simply ask, does the supplier have access to our systems or data? Are they critical to our daily operations? And what would happen if they failed? You'll likely scrutinize your outsourced IT provider more than your gardener or your sandwich supplier. unless it's really good sandwiches, of course, but that's another story. But make sure that key suppliers fill in security questionnaires annually, that you hold quarterly meetings for critical services like cloud or IT or comms, and that you record how you change suppliers if things go wrong or just need improving. Now, again, we finish by just looking at some questions that we're often asked. How often should we review suppliers? Well, it depends. Sorry to use that old consultancy term, but it does. It depends on the supplier. It depends on the criticality. What are they doing for you? Maybe a quarterly review is adequate, maybe a monthly review if things aren't going as well as you would hope, or maybe an annual review. The less risky they are, then the less frequent then that you perhaps need to review them. But it's down to you. The auditor can't tell you and determine what's appropriate or what's necessary for you. Only you can do that. Do we need to drop a supplier if they have a breach? Not necessarily. It's totally up to you. But you do need to ask the right questions. Why? How did it happen? When did it? When did you discover it? When did it happen? How did you find out about it? And what are they doing to stop it from happening again? If the answers don't build confidence in you, then it might be time to move on. But only you can make that decision. And then that change, that move will be part of your change management process, or certainly your exit process for suppliers. Some final thoughts. Really, you don't need a PhD in supplier psychology to nail this one. It's mostly about clear conversations, keeping records, and staying alert. Monitor consistently, review deliberately, and change smoothly. And just don't do it because the standard says so. Do it because it keeps your business safe, agile, and ahead of the curve. So that is Annex A 5.22, monitoring, review, and change management of supplier services. Good luck with it, and we'll see you on the next control.